So thanks everyone for joining today. I appreciate your time. This is our Friday webinar series. Every Friday we do something a little bit different, but we're really staying Medicare focused this summer as we get ready for the AEP. Today's topic is on group retiree Medicare products, or a product specifically. My name is Christy Strauss, and I am the brokerage sales director at IAD. My contact information is there. After this webinar, if you want to call me or email me to get more information about what we'll be talking about today, please do so. So you're all on mute, just so you know. And what I'll do is at the end of the presentation, I'm going to look at the Q&A or the chats. And so if you should have questions as we're going through it, just type them in so you don't forget them. And I will then stop and just go through those questions and answer them. And if I have to go backwards with the slides to help answer the question, I will be happy to do that. So again, thanks for your time. Let's get started. Let's see here. These, most of you are aware that sell Medicare products. If some of these statistics, you see it all the time, 10,000 people turning 65 every day. That's a huge number. The current Medicare population is 44 million, and by 2030, it's going to probably hit 79 million. That's a lot of people on Medicare. So lots of people are going to need solutions in the upcoming future. So it's a great time to be in sales and in the Medicare space, or even the group space. And we'll talk a little bit about in the coming slides about what this all means. So again, this is an opportunity for agents to market this product that I'm going to be kicking off here. And this illustrates the significance of the group slice. You can see that's about 38% of people who are group or other. Other probably indicates, if you can believe, maybe nothing. They get Medicare and do nothing. But that's a significant slice here when you bump it up against Medicare supplements and Medicare Advantage. So whether you market to Medicare individuals or market to group, I think you're going to find the next few slides to be very informative and perhaps even nudge you a little bit to pique your interest in this product. You know, in the agents that have been selling group know here recently that a lot of groups have taken a big increase, and so this may be a good solution for some of your groups. So let's move forward. Group retiree medical plans are sold basically for group MAPD, group Medicare supplement, and then of course you have the individual products. The product that I'm talking about today is called Senior's Choice. It's the medical portion of Senior's Choice is adjudicated by GTL, Guarantee Trust Life, and they are an A- AM Best rated company. Senior's Choice is administered by a TPA, and that company's name is MBA Merchants Benefit Administration. They're located out of the Phoenix, Arizona area. I believe maybe even Scottsdale, to be honest with you. Senior's Choice has been doing business for 30 plus years. And most of you are probably like, yeah, that's funny. I've never heard of them. Well, we're going to talk about why you haven't and that sort of thing in the upcoming slides. But just know they don't advertise, and that's probably one of the biggest reasons you may not have heard of Senior's Choice. So who's eligible for this Senior's Choice plan that I'm going to talk about? Well, the persons must be eligible or have both A and B Medicare, and it's good for groups down to one life. So as you can imagine, if you're not a group agent, no worries. Maybe you know somebody that owns their own business. So this would be a really good fit for them. And it's you must be 65 or older They do allow with real specific and some rules for the under 65 disabled, but we'll talk in more about that as in the future slides here. It's also for actively or retired employees as well as their spouses. So some of the marketing opportunities when you're looking at groups, who would be eligible? Corporations, nonprofits, and religious municipalities, unions, and government entities would be considered sort of a sweet spot. Anyone who holds an occupational license, that can be beauticians and doctors and insurance agents or real estate agents, hospitals, and even Native American tribes, they're considered really good potential groups. The sweet spot, I will tell you, would be under 20 groups, under 20 lives, small business owners. So let's take a look at what that is. The under 20 employee groups are considered non-TEFRA. TEFRA are laws surrounding employer groups. And then over 20 employees, they must be part-time and not eligible for group benefits. So if you do have a big group, it's not like you can introduce it, but if they're 65 or older, they must be part-time and not eligible for their employer group benefits. And then, of course, retirees. So let's just talk a little bit about what the non-TEFRA laws are. So that is really just designated for employer groups of 20 or under, and that would be 20 or under employees, and would be including both full and part-time employees combined. So small groups. And then anything over that is considered TEFRA. So you can't bring this into the work site to a large employer group. And if they've got folks that are 65 and up and getting their employee benefits through, one of the healthcare providers that they use, this would not be eligible for them. So they must be not eligible for those over 20 employees for the group benefits if you were introducing it into that larger space. So what's the reason why this is so attractive and why it's a sweet spot for that under 20 is basically because what happens when you've got that small employer group, 9 times out of 10, the owner is the older individual. And so they're looking at a way to reduce their healthcare costs by peeling that 65 and older person off of that group plan. It then lowers the rates for that group and then puts them on the senior's choice and gives them a really nice, robust plan. So they end up saving quite a few dollars, hundreds of dollars, in fact, and we have many groups that love it just for that reason. So again, that's how the TEFRA and non-TEFRA works. Some of the built-in features of this plan is it's guaranteed acceptance. There's never any underwriting, and that's awesome. This works just like a Medicare supplement in that it looks just like a Medicare supplement and acts like them. So there are no networks. So as long as the doctor accepts Medicare, you can go to it. Same with the hospitals. As long as they accept Medicare, that is a hospital. So you're never worrying about, networks and that sort of thing. It supplements your A and B. So just like a med sup, they still have their A and B card, their red, white, and blue card, along with their senior's choice. Obviously, no doctor referrals are ever needed. And first day coverage, it doesn't look back at pre-X or anything. So that's wonderful. And it takes over all of those pre-existing conditions. The other nice feature is spouses are also given those same plan features and can come on board with that employer group as well. They do have a standalone comprehensive Part D coverage, which we'll talk about in the upcoming slides. And there is no lifetime maximum, Part A and B deductible coverage, foreign travels included. Again, this is going to look much like a Medicare supplement. For those of you who are familiar with MedSups, you'll see what I mean. So here are the plans. There's 3 to choose from. The preferred choice is going to look and act just like a Plan F. So the interesting thing about Plan F is the MACRA came in 2020 and stated if you're 65 beginning that date, you can no longer have a Plan F. But this is not a Plan F. It just looks and acts just like one. So if you're on Senior's Choice and you just turned 65, you can still have that Plan F. The basic choice is going to be your Plan G, and then the preferred choice is your high deductible Plan F. So again, 3 nice plans to choose from. Another thing to keep in mind with this, and it's a bonus, is if you as the agent roll this out to a potential client, they can have all of their employees on different plans. So it's not like a one size fits all. Maybe the owner wants to be on the preferred choice plus, and then a few employees come in and say, look, I just want the basic, or the preferred choice is fine with me. So the nice thing is that all employees and spouses can be on different plans, whatever fits their needs and their budgets. Now, this may be a little hard to read, but this is how it's priced out. So the plans are priced by using zip codes of where that employer group is domiciled, not where the employee lives. It's always where the employer group is domiciled. So if you buy, or if you're an employee of a company that is located in Detroit, you can see that these are area rating rates. So there's like an area 1 through 5. Detroit would probably land up in, I'm taking a guess, but I believe it's area 2. So let's just say you then leave the state, maybe you go to Florida and take up residence there. That rate is never going to jump up based on where that employee and their spouse move to. It will always be based off of where the employer's trust agreement is signed and where that employer is domiciled. So these can be composite rates. Just so you know, when it gets into groups of 25 or more members, that means not employees, that means actual members. So maybe you are in a larger group and they have, let's just say they have 25 or 30 retirees. We can look at composite rates for that. If you have a potential group that this looks good for and you need some help, you let me know afterwards. I'm happy to work through and give you a proposal and that sort of thing. But just so you know, this is how we get the rates for, you know, the groups under that 25 using the area rating and the zip code of the employer. Unfortunately, this is not in a few of the states still, and those states are Florida, Missouri, New York, North and South Dakota, and Washington. The other thing is, you can see down here, they don't ask about tobacco, and it's not male and female. So that's off the table. It is strictly done by zip code. And this is just going to show you some sample rates. Hopefully you can see them, but off to the side, if we were to use an area 1, meaning the cheapest area rates, and use age 65, you would range anywhere from the $62 range for that high deductible F all the way to $165.11 for that Plan F. So that's a pretty wide range. The other thing you have to factor in is there is a $20 per member per month admin fee. As I mentioned, MBA is the TPA that administers this, and they handle everything, claims, So you as the agent aren't babysitting this, they're going to step in. And so that $20 fee goes for all of their services that they're providing. The prescription drug plan, as I mentioned earlier, is an optional plan that you can add to richen this up. And I've got multiple examples to tell you, but they do have zero deductible plans, fixed copay options. The formulary is incredibly robust, and there is a no donut hole plan. Every year, every one of the groups has open enrollment, which is in October, and those changes can be made in each employee's plan at that time for January 1 effective date. So that occurs every October. So if they did decide they wanted to add a prescription drug plan into their plan, then they could do that during that open enrollment time. This can be customizable for larger groups. Again, we're talking for that large group. They do have that mail order option as well for your tier 1 and 2 drugs. So let's take a look. The next slide, the PBM that they use is Humana. So this is all Humana, the drug plan, and there are 2 plans here. You can see down at the bottom there, it shows you what that monthly premium is. So you're probably thinking, whoa, that's a lot of money. But when you're pulling somebody off their group plan and giving them the senior's choice and this, it's oftentimes quite a few $100s of a savings when you're pulling that 65-year-old off of a group plan. So the formularies, as I mentioned, are incredibly rich. I will tell you a quick little story. I was working with an agent who presented a very costly drug, and he was trying to help his client solve for this, and he could not find it in Medicare.gov. The drug was not anywhere. So I got involved and I looked, and sure enough, that drug was not. It's very expensive. Was going to run that client about $5,000 a month for this drug. They could have gone to the manufacturer, but there were issues with that as well. They had sort of exhausted all possibilities, but he didn't know what to do. And he happened to mention in the conversation that this client of his was a CPA and just dabbles in it. So because he still had his license, he then was eligible for senior's choice. And when I checked this formulary, that drug was in there as a tier 2, which was unbelievable, and was going to save literally tens of thousands of dollars for this particular client just by pulling him and his spouse off of their individual plan and then putting them on senior's choice, adding the drug component, and they're just thrilled. So the other benefit of doing something like that is they can now deduct the premium of both themselves and their spouse because it is considered part of the group, and they're paying through his trust agreement, they're paying all of the premiums for both. And so that now becomes sort of a tax benefit for he and his wife. So how do you write a group? Well, this is what the trust participation agreement looks like. It's 2 pages. It's very, very easy. As far as you, an agent, Senior's Choice is a just-in-time carrier, which means you don't have to get appointed until you're ready to submit that first piece of business. They can come in simultaneously. So you just need to submit a voided check along with the trust agreement. How is the employer going to pay for the premiums? Maybe they're not going to participate with their employees, but they're paying theirs. But in any event, that has to be submitted. There's some check boxes about which medical plan they want to then include, and then also they would include if they're doing both medical and prescription or just medical. I would recommend clicking all of the boxes for the medical plans, the 3 available, and then as far as the prescriptions go, I would click that they wanted to, even if they're not going to, um, put that on there, because you never know when an employee's going to then age in and need that prescription drug, that richer prescription drug benefit. And again, I feel like the prescription drug portion is really meant to help those who have conditions or diagnoses and would perhaps even get into the donut hole really quickly. You're going to find this formulary to be a lot more forgiving. And so even though it's a fixed cost, it's easier to budget when you know exactly what you have to pay each and every month and not worry about donut holes and things like that. So it is a nice option. So I'm not going to get into the specifics of commission. I would rather have that conversation with you one-on-one. But just know that the commissions are level for life. Seniors Choice has been, as I mentioned, around for 30 plus years. Their rates have been very stable. They've taken some increases over the years, but the percentages are very low. And they are able to do this because, as you can imagine, the risk pool is everybody in the United States. It's not just one little section, one little zip code. It is everybody. So that's going to help keep those rates stable. The other thing, as I mentioned, they don't advertise. So they're a very agent-friendly company. Not advertising obviously keeps that cost down. And so they are just working off of agents who, just by word of mouth and just by the loyalty to the company, they've been able to keep things really stable on their rates. And so why choose this? Well, here's some other sweet spots, if you will, just bullet points on this. As I mentioned, stable rates, no networks, choose your own doctor. That tax benefit for employers that are contributing premium dollars is really impactful. And the guarantee issue, I mean, that's awesome. Another thing to keep in mind that I didn't mention yet is if you have a group, you can also go back to legacy employees. And what do I mean by that? Perhaps you have an 80-year-old that was working for this attorney group, and they're now 80. They don't work any longer. Now they're on a Med Advantage plan, but this group comes along and offers this up. And they think, boy, that would be so nice, but my health is really, I couldn't get through underwriting. Well, now they can. You can offer this up to legacy employees and their spouses. So this is another outlet for somebody who's a little older with some medical issues or not, to have the opportunity to have a nice Medicare supplement plan, and even the standalone prescription drug plan. So because they have a TPA, they will work with you on how those premiums are paid. Even if they're paid by the employees, they can use pension dollars to make those premium payments. They work with Section 125s. As I mentioned, it's portable. So you leave the state where you lived and worked, and you don't have to worry about that increase. The admin fee is baked into that $20 per member per month is not baked into the premiums, so that's an additional amount, but that would be billed as that additional $20 per member per month. That question just popped up on my screen, and I just happened to see it, so I wanted to answer that one real quick. The premiums or the group size can go down to one life. And again, that's very impactful when you're somebody with like an agent, like us as agents. If this is a plan we want it for ourselves and our spouses, this would be a wonderful plan to have. And then the group will remain active, even though, let's just say, for instance, that employer dissolved and was no longer in business. As long as they're making their premiums, that trust agreement was signed and it will remain active. So that's another nice feature. So why is this, is there a need for this product? And the answer is yes. I mean, we talked about those statistics, and that's huge. The number of folks out there that are turning 65. But the sweet spots, again, large municipalities and folks like that, police and fire, they're starting to go bankrupt in many cities because of the fact that they had promised all these dollars, and they're just getting eaten alive by the premiums. So senior choice can come in and replace whatever they have. They will work with unions and negotiating and things like that. So just let us know if you feel like this might be a fit for somebody who's looking for a solution, because it is a solution. Nobody thought that we would all live as long as we're living these days. And so with that in mind, obviously, we're going to live longer, and our health's going to, get a little worse as we get up into the 80s and even 90s. So why not offer a plan that's this robust and comprehensive? And just keep us in mind. There are reasons. Always give me a call. If you're an individual Medicare agent, there's going to be a fit at some point in time for somebody who's really looking for a solution, as I mentioned in my example of the retired CPA. So as long as they have their professional license, that would have to go in as sort of an article or proof that they are an entity. That has to go in with that trust agreement too. So they need to have that, when you're filling out that trust agreement, a voided check and an article of proof that they are an entity, whether it's their license or, an article of corporation or something of that nature. So there's so much more to talk about this, and I would love to have conversations with you as we, learn a little bit more about this. I'm going to let's just see right now. It looks like I have some chats and some questions. I'm going to go to the questions here. Is this approved in Oregon? And Scott, I'm going to double check, but I think it did just recently become approved in Oregon. The next question is, does the spouse have to be 65 as well? The answer to that is, the short answer is yes. You have to have Medicare Part A and B in order to qualify for this plan. If they were 65 on A and B but disabled, then that could happen, but the group must be 25 or larger of members to start allowing somebody who's disabled. So that looks like the questions, but now let me look at there are brochures. I'm happy to send out brochures. As I mentioned, the admin fee of $20 per member per month is something you have to add in on top of the rate. For the, if you get the standalone prescription drug plan, which you can do and not get the medical, maybe you're just solving for prescription drugs and you say, look, I love the medical, but I don't think we're going to do it. We'll check that box. That will eventually get it on the trust agreement. But for right now, we're really just looking to solve for the prescription drugs. You can do that. There is an admin fee for that, and that is $10 per member per month. So they work separately. So that means if you're getting both, it's going to be a $30 per member per month. And folks, I'm sorry about that, but we have this TPA. I think you'll find it's well worth it because of all that they handle, the claims and, the enrollments, any issues they have that should come up. they handle that. That's not on your plate any longer. So it's a well worth it type of, in my opinion, fee, and we've never had any complaints here on that. Let me go back to see what other questions. Will you send flyers to all on the call? I'm happy to do that. I will go ahead and do that. Let me see here, chat. Let me bring that up. How do you define spouse? Married, legally married. That's it. And who do they use for mail order? That's a good question, and I will find that out. Again, it's Humana as the PBM, so it's going to be whoever Humana uses. It's not a Seniors Choice thing. Humana partnered with Seniors Choice on this group plan, so I will get back with you, Ronnie, on that to be able to provide you that. So watch for this. It takes about 2 to 3 days, this recording to get cleaned up, put on the YouTube channel that we have. And as soon as that happens, I will send you the link. But for those of you on this webinar today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow up with a blind carbon copy all of you. I'm going to follow up with some attachments about Seniors Choice. And again, we are their national wholesaler. We have been for many years. We love working with them. It's a great company. I know the agents that have sold this still continue to sell it because it is such a nice plan for their clients and eases up so many issues, or if they're trying to solve for clients with special needs because of their health. It's so nice just because they're so broad stroking and who they allow into this group. So I appreciate you all in taking the time today. Let me see if I've got any other questions. Go ahead and just type those in if you don't mind, and I'll address that. But it doesn't look like anybody's asking any questions. Again, you can see right here, I can be reached. Our toll-free number is 800-381-0977. I'm at extension 108. You can see down below there my email address. Feel free to email me. Watch for my email with the Seniors Choice brochure and some other little interesting things that I'll put in that email. But thank you all so much for your time today. This was a real briefer sort of webinar just to give you and whet your appetite for Seniors Choice, but I think you'll find it's a very interesting product. So if that is it, and it looks like it is, again, thank you all for your time today and have a great weekend.